Have you ever felt emotionally drained by someone in your life? Maybe it's a neighbor, a best friend, or even a spouse. Do you find yourself constantly exhausted as if all your positive energy is just being taken away? If this sounds familiar, you could be dealing with an energy vampire. And in this video today, I'm going to be showing you the 6 ways to spot this, but more importantly, how you can safeguard your own energy. Stick around until the end. I'll even show you how you can protect yourself and a free assessment report to determine where you are in your healing journey, right after the intro. We're going to start off with way 1. You always find yourself in the middle of a drama with them, with these energy drainers. Now, in some instances, you might even be going on holiday somewhere and say you go to a restaurant with them and there's just always a problem. It's like almost as if a waiter is beneath them when everyone should be treated with respect no matter what their job or role is. And they're constant complaining, and they might even want to dominate conversations as well. But you'll find these patterns of just drama, they can't do without it, anything, any sort of energy, whether it's positive or negative, and they want to be the center of the attention. So you want to be very aware of this drama that's taking place. You'll see a lot of dramatic behavior in this regard, and one thing you need to also be aware of, they're very skilled manipulators, in the sense that they may use certain techniques to ensure you feel guilty, maybe some passive aggression sometimes, but what you will feel is this sense of you being emotionally drained, which at times you can't quite be able to explain, but this is part of their subtle tactics that they use. And when you are in these situations, especially with the drama, you would want to pay close attention to it. And then also with the drama, you'll also find a theme of them wanting to dominate conversations. You'll see a sense of instances where it just seems like they're just always talking about themselves, their own achievements, what they've been able to do, but you never find a sense whereby they're talking about you and what you've achieved. It just happens to always be about them. This is the conversation dominator, and you want to pay attention to this when it's going on as well. You want to be able to see that they can actually show interest in your life, your problems, your experiences, and even your achievements. There needs to be a bit of a balance there. Do you know what I mean? So when you notice this is something that is a part of the strategy toolbook of the emotional drainers. Way number 2, getting a one-up on you. An energy vampire never like to be outdone. They always want to be the center of attention, as I always say. They never want to share the spotlight. They will struggle to actually feel genuine happiness for you, and they will want their emotional needs to be satisfied and all the attention to be centered upon them. I'll give you a couple of examples. So you might be in the workplace and this particular colleague you just notice can be slightly manipulative. So you might find yourself in situations whereby your colleague might actually use subtle ways to take credit for your own work, and then they will use passive aggressive techniques or tactics to ensure you feel guilty about it, while also making you doubt your own abilities, and at the same time being friendly about this before you even know what's going on. And these friendliness would come to your other colleagues, which is just a cover-up for what is actually going on. It seems really unfair and hard to explain in some instances when you're experiencing this, but this is one of the very skillful manipulative ways they use to enhance some form of control on you. And I'll give you a couple of other examples. You might even have a friend and you might be, trying to apply for some jobs, and you're trying to get your friend to help you with this. But then rather than being a support system, you'll get them actually making you doubt your own abilities. Or they might even go as far as even saying things like, you can't be this in this position, or you can't be this title that you want to be. So do you really want to be like listening to things like that? You shouldn't be listening to, even if it cannot be achieved in a certain time frame, what you want to have and the kind of people you want to surround yourself with is positivity and positive thoughts. You want people to be able to support you and your dreams, because words, I'll tell you, are very powerful. And if you're having certain emotional drainers feeding that negative energy, because everything's energy, even words, everything, actions, even the way I'm waving my arms around, it's energy, right? So you need to really go in depth in your thinking and get to a point whereby you do not feed off any negativity, because words are very powerful, I tell you, and that's how some people are also mentally affected by certain things growing up. So you want to be very wary about this. You might also even find yourself even talking with these energy drainers, and in some situations you try and progress yourself, you have some certifications, right? And you're telling them about it, and rather than encouragement from your friend, what you'll get is, that's great, only 3 more certifications to get to my level. So, I mean, these are the very, very clear-cut signs of there's that competitive streak. Nothing's wrong with competition, and being competitive, but in certain instances where you should be supportive, you need that from your friend, and if you're not getting that, it's going to affect your energy and your self-esteem. You're seeing a high level of self-centeredness to dominate the conversation as well. You want to pay close attention to that. Way number 3 is the guilt trips, and I'll start off with the unpredictable behaviors. So you might see some instances whereby they're very nice to you, even charming to a T. And then you just all of a sudden realize they're very cold and hostile towards you. This can keep you very much off balance, and you'll be thinking, what is going on? Because you don't understand it and you're trying to process this. Whilst this keeps you off balance, they're in a position also to then also guilt trip you about things, because they've got you hooked on that emotional roller coaster. So in terms of guilt trip, so to look at that in closer detail, they might try to shame you, especially if you're a really compassionate person. So they might use this as a weapon against you. More so, it might use the power of ultimatums to capture your attention as well, because they know that may force you to do something you otherwise may not want to do, because it's an ultimatum at the end of the day. But you need to stand firm with what you believe in. Let them know you do not stand for ultimatums, because this is a very subtle tactic they use to also guilt trip you and to ensure coercion and control over you as well. And then in terms of guilt tripping, I'll give you a couple of examples. Perhaps you've been in a situation where you were in a relationship and things have not been going quite well, and you all of a sudden broken up, and the emotional drainer just all of a sudden is crying, because you're a compassionate, emotional empath as well. You start feeling guilty, and you're hearing things that they can't live without you. They might even threaten to commit suicide. I mean, that's the extreme of it, but you need to pay really close attention to this. I mean, when people say that, it's not something to be taken lightly, but there is something to realize when this is taken as emotional manipulation to ensure you're doing or being forced to do something that you otherwise wouldn't have wanted to do. So this is an emotional form of emotional blackmail to try to get you to do what they want to do, and by you not leaving the relationship. You got to look at it this way for your own sanity and your survival in terms of the guilt trips. And I'll put it in one phrase for clarity. If say you want to leave someone and it's put in this way, if you really love me, you will stick around and put up with my abuse. I mean, really? Okay, really think about that. That's not love, that's toxic, right? You also should care about yourself and not to be abused. So you need to look after your own mental health and mental well-being It's not just about the person you care about, but you deserve that love and respect in your relationship. And nobody deserves any abuse, whether it's verbal or physical abuse. So you need to put it in clarity for you to understand what point you're at. Don't let them guilt trip you in an emotional way to thinking that you need to stay no matter what. You don't deserve abuse, you deserve love, and that should be your standard within any kind of relationship that you're in. Way 4, codependency. I'll give you examples. If you're having these thoughts, I've been in a relationship this long, trying to get out of it and look for someone else. I know the relationship isn't good, but it's so much better than trying to find someone else. You go into the realms of codependency and, thinking that this is the standard and you deserve better, and being scared to go out there and date again because it's just too scary for you to go through all that again. And in relation to this codependency, they might even use little subtle manipulative tactics, and they might be, because they know you're under this codependency, they might say things or do things like ignoring you for a few days, knowing full well it's going to be hurting you and knowing you're going to come back crawling, because they know they have that control over you. So this is codependency going on in this form of emotional draining of your energy. And then in terms of draining your energy even more, you'll find that they need constant validation. They demand your attention, especially in times that you're very busy or you're going through a challenging time. They'll always be selfish and always want that attention from you. And this is so draining for you because of what you're going through, and you also need support, but you're having to take your energy to give them that support. So at the end of the day, your battery is going to be exhausted, because we are batteries, we are energy, and you're not going to have any energy to focus on what your goals are, what your needs are, which is what you should be doing, because this should not go to the side no matter what relationship you're in. So you want to be very cautious about this while it's going on, to ensure that you're also channeling your energy into what you need to achieve in your life. So be very wary, because they might become very moody and even resentful for you not giving them that attention. Way 5, criticism and bullying. What you'll find is energy vampires are very insecure, and what they'll do is they will find ways to ensure that you're in their control by bullying you and ensuring you feel bad through things they're doing to keep you in a box and make you feel small. And in this state, you'll feel like you owe them attention constantly, and you feel like you constantly have to feed this narrative. So how do you stop this unwarranted attacks? You're thinking you have to keep constantly feeding them, and then the cycle goes on. They keep bullying you, you keep feeling drained, and you keep having to feed what they want. And because they're insecure, they'll ensure that they're always on the top, bullying. And this will carry on with constant criticism. You feel you're always constantly getting criticized for almost everything you do. You seem not to be able to do anything right. And there might be times in a normal setting where you do feel criticized, and it's normal. Nobody likes being criticized. But when it's excessive, too much of anything isn't good. When it's excessive, then it's something to pay close attention to, because that can be energy sapping and draining. So going a step further on the bullying, they will try to intimidate you. Fear is a very powerful emotion, and they will try to capitalize on that to ensure you're even more under control. So they'll use different ways. They might use different ways to try and intimidate you, to try and put fear in you, to make sure that you cannot go above a certain boundary by trying to always put you within that box. Might even say things like, I won't tell you this again, threaten you, as we said before, put down ultimatums, and just ensure, especially if you're reliant on this person financially as well. So they might use different techniques, different ways to ensure that you are intimidated and you can't do anything without them. Total codependency. So they use this intimidation tool as an energy feeder on your emotions to exert control on you. So overall, why is all this important? It's all important because it's very important for your mental health and your physical health. It's all connected. And if you don't pay attention to this energy draining, it can affect so many things. It can affect your mental health, it can lead to depression, anxiety, and as I said before, leading to the physical, even to heart disease. It's all connected in the sense that your mind and your body, you need to ensure you're taking care of both. So my first advice is you need to establish some boundaries. So depending what this person is to you within your life, perhaps you might want to limit social attendance with this person and events. Just as an example, if it's in a work setting, you might want to not agree to take in certain lunches with them to just limit your contact with this individual. You may just need to start small initially and just focus on smaller areas when it comes to establishing boundaries and then expand gradually. You need to remember, you need to adjust your expectations. You can't fix an energy vampire, but you can fix the way you respond to them. So for example, this might require you to shut off your emotional valve when it comes to them bringing their problems to you. This may also mean you can't use them as an emotional release either. So it's also part of establishing the boundaries. If the energy vampire calls, texts, just ignore it. Just keep using excuses not to get yourself involved. Eventually they'll move on to find that energy to drain from somebody else. Say you're too tired, you've got plans, you're too busy, just in order to protect your own energy. So you need to guard your emotional capacity. You might even get to be in some instances where you just need to be stone cold. You're giving nothing away completely, just in order to guard your emotional capacity. You might even get to a point where you need to just cut them out completely, no contact. This is in order to protect your own sanity and to protect your energy that you should be feeding to the goals that you want to achieve in your life. Essentially, you'll finally be standing up for yourself. The bottom line is, by protecting yourself from these energy drainers, you're protecting your mental health and your overall well-being. But if you've gotten to a stage where you feel like this energy and emotional drainage has gotten to a point where you need to heal, then I have a free recommendation report to assess where you are on your healing journey, and to even, if you want to, also join the waitlist for a Healing and Thriving program as well. So click on the link below to assess where you are on your healing journey. Also, by the way, in case you missed it, the episode about the untold truth about spiritual narcissists, click right here to check it out.